places I've been, they don't feel like forever. But each step I'm taking, it seems like I'm finding myself.
30 days, 14,000 kilometers, 3 men, a van, and a whole lot of Australia to keep us company. From southern shores and mountains to lush forests and wonders of far north Queensland and rivers and waterfalls of Northern Territory. Beautiful landscapes, diverse wildlife, winds, rain, sweltering heat, amazing sunrises and breathtaking sunsets, and an endless canopy of a night sky. Everything was in abundance. Hello, my name is Elmar, and we are going to start this series in the Melbourne Airport. It is here where I picked up both my dad and one of his best mates after they have spent almost 24 hours on the road. As they had arrived at night, we could not start the trip the next day and planned to spend it resting, only driving to one special place in the Dandenong Ranges closer to sunset. Located just an hour from Melbourne, the RJ Hamer Arboretum is a serene haven for over 150 species of trees from around the world. Throughout its history, it has survived the devastating fires, and in the 1970s it was transformed into Australia's first fully planted, forest-style arboretum with mini forests of exotic conifers and deciduous trees from Europe, Asia and America. To a person from the Northern Hemisphere like me, this place feels like a brief visit back to an old family home, but even without this connection, this place is amazing to visit and enjoy its beauty. Arboretum holds many wonders, and as you can see, my dad was quite impressed by the size of some local specimens.
There's a place I'm welcome in, there's a place I know I'm called a friend, there's a place that I've never...
Not only is this place filled with a variety of trees, but it is also a habitat of the native wildlife. You can easily spot some iconic birds and animals while walking its hilly trails. Among those are kookaburras, wallabies, wombats, black and white cockatoos, even powerful owl if you are lucky, and this list goes on. However, there is one bird you cannot miss, but you can probably mistake it for some others if only judging by the sounds without seeing. And it's called a superb lyrebird, and oh boy, it is truly the master of mimicry. These birds are famous for their abilities to copy sounds not only of other birds, but also human-made objects like chainsaws, car alarms and camera shutters. And these beautiful birds can be found not only in nature, but also on the back of 10-cent coins, the emblem of New South Wales National Parks and Wildlife Service, as well as many other places. The one of only 2 species of lyrebirds, the superb lyrebird, can be found from southern Victoria to southeastern Queensland. By the way, they lose their beautiful tails after the mating season is over, so the best time to see them is during winter. Due to their secretive nature, you can rarely witness their mating, but the male dance rehearsals are quite common and are very beautiful. next day, we spent finalizing our preparation, and then we finally started on our journey with the beautiful town of Kilcunda being our first stop. This charming seaside town offers a slice of authentic coastal Victoria. Perched between Phillip Island and Wonthaggi, it has a rich history tied to black coal mining that began in the late 1800s. For me, one of the main attractions here is the George Pass Coastal Walk connecting Kilcunda with San Remo. It offers diverse terrain from rolling green hills to sandy coves, with options to do it as a one-way or as a 16-kilometer return journey. However, preparation for sun and wind exposure is required, and if you are visiting it in winter or spring, there is a chance that you can spot migrating whales. As you can see, we did not get the sun, but we are fully compensated in the wind department. I have included the video of how it looks in a different weather, as it's simply stunning. But please be aware that beneath this beauty lies the wild, untamed nature which sometimes claims the life of a careless angler or a tourist. Anyhow, we had some distance to cover until dark, so after a brief stop, we were back on the road that took us all the way to Wilsons Promontory National Park, or the Prom, as it is known locally. On arrival, we were once again greeted by the wind and rain, but this time they were accompanied by a friendly neighbor running a tour of the camp and ensuring us that we came to the right place after all. In the morning, the wildlife encounters did not stop, and the weather seemed to improve, finally allowing us to look on the bright side. The Prom is the southernmost tip of mainland Australia. This immense national park, by Victorian standards of course, is a 50,000 hectare jewel in Gippsland, about 3 hours away from Melbourne. It was first protected, even though temporarily at the time, in 1898, and has been under protection ever since. Jutting dramatically into Bass Strait, it boasts granite peaks, turquoise waters and diverse landscapes from temperate rainforests to heathlands, and of course the famous pristine white sand beaches like Squeaky Beach, which stands quite high in the ranking of Australian beaches. There are so many things to do at the Prom, like summiting Mount Oberon for breathtaking panoramas, or exploring hidden places on the southeast coast like Sealy's Cove, or camping at Tidal River, or even hiking to the historic Wilsons Promontory Light Station on the south coast. And if we had more time, I would have loved to do all of the above, except probably for Sealy's Cove, as the trail is currently closed due to a boardwalk rebuild, but as our time was limited, we opted for a short hike to Little Oberon Bay. And what a beautiful hike that is in any weather, and as for the weather, it did not hold itself back, changing every now and then. As you could see from earlier shots, the Prom is a wildlife paradise. You can spot wallabies, emus, wombats, echidnas and colourful rosellas. You can also expect to see Australian fur seals hollowing out on rocks and feeding near the kelp forests in the bays. Dolphins are hard to spot from the shore, but they often accompany boats, and during migration seasons, especially June to November, humpback and southern right whales pass by, sometimes breaching spectacularly, and you can also book whale watching tours for a better chance of seeing them. Little Oberon Bay is one of my favorite spots in Victoria, and it did not disappoint at all, as this time the weather was pretty good. Look at that. Gorgeous. And as soon as I said that, the weather has changed once again, and not for the better. Even though it looked very empty on the day, but the park experiences plenty of visitors every summer and requires booking the campsites for Christmas break well in advance. I decided that the short time we had in the prom did not do justice, so I added some footage from my other visits in the hope that I can paint a more complete picture. This scene was shot at Lookout Rocks, to which you can walk from Derby Saddle. And this is one of the magic nights at Norman Beach. As you can see, it can get quite colourful down there at times. After the hike, it was time for us to continue on our journey, as we planned to be at Eden by nightfall. However, before we get to Eden, I wanted to show you some photos I have taken at the prom. Photography is one of the things that fascinates me, and I find that it helps a lot in preserving memories. I have not picked up my camera for a while, so it felt good diving back into it. There are so many things to love about photography, but capturing the mood and emotion of the scene is definitely at the top of my list. More than 500 kilometers lie between the prom and Eden, and as we left at around lunchtime, we spent the rest of the day driving without making any stops on the way apart from those that were strictly required. The weather has continued to be unstable, so we have seen plenty of both rain and sunshine. And if you'd like to follow this adventure, please consider subscribing to the channel, as that means a lot to me. Also, if you have not seen it, I highly recommend that you check out the trailer of the series for a taste of what is coming soon. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.